Dudley, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Bob. How are you?
Very good. You are coming to me from your living room, and you have a fireplace, and you seem like the I've known you for years, and you seem like the kind of guy always that would have had a fireplace.
Well, we lived on the water for 20 some years and traveling so much, it was just too expensive to stay on top of everything. So we built inland and we're very comfortable on one floor and enjoying it now very much. Our kids are gone and we have a cavapoo that entertains us now as we travel.
That is awesome. That's really, really cool. And we've been talking all day long about just different boating related things, yachting related things. One of the most, I was looking forward to this, not only because I've known you for a long time, consider you a friend, and you're really, really easy to talk to, but the things that you do are really meaningful. Not only as it relates to helping people with boat donations in the process. If you own a boat, it's a creative way to actually quote unquote sell it and take advantages of um, some tax vehicles there, but also the proceeds of what you guys do in a very real way is attached to some really, really cool things. So I'm going to just like open it up here and we're going to talk a little bit about boat donation, the kind of the process of how that works. And then I would love though first to start with the what does AMI Kids do with the money that you guys get and the proceeds from it? Because sometimes people just see it as a tax saving sort of, there's some companies that it's more of like a, hey, you give it to us, you're going to get the opportunity to write off a huge thing, and we're not really going to explain where the money goes. You guys have some major things that are happening. This thing behind me is an example, and I just wanted to see if you could speak to some of that.
For those that are listening that aren't aware, AMI Kids started back in the late 60s in a shopping center of all places in Deerfield Beach with Senator Lou Delaparte and Judge Frank Orlando. And Judge Frank Orlando kept having these young boys come through his courtroom from affluent neighborhoods and just having too much time on the weekends. So Lou and Frank got together one afternoon and decided, let's get them involved in a reef project off the coast. And Frank never saw the kids again. So back in 1969, the seed was planted that, hey, let's get these kids that have too much time on the weekends out in boats and use the boat as a tool to help modify their behavior. So today, last year, we just celebrated 50 years of being in business and helping troubled boys and girls. We have 45 schools around the country. Some are residential, some are day treatment programs. We have several in South Florida. We've helped over 140,000 kids to date get a new purpose in life. So it's amazing. There's over 800 people that work for AMI Kids, and the dedication of the staff and the focus to help make a difference has been really, really amazing. And to see these kids from some of the neighborhoods and the troubled past that they come from to see them aspire and get a high school education, go on to college and become productive citizens within the community is just amazing. Because we have one individual at our boatyard who was a former student, and it's just amazing what we do. But I can go into the boat donation prospect anytime you'd like.
Yeah, I'd like to jump into that. But first, because sometimes it's ambiguous talking about helping out these large, you mentioned 140,000 kids, it's unbelievable. Can you give us like a few examples of what that looks like in real life in certain programs, that the ways that they're help, like this photo behind me, do you know what's going on there?
You know, I'm really not sure because I'm in the marine end of it, and but that's probably one of the schools in South Florida, right in Fort Lauderdale.
That's it. Yep, exactly.
Dade, yeah. But you know, anyone can go on our website, which is AMIkids.org, and see a complete history and see in depth about what all the schools do. But it's just an amazing part of what we all do and the dedication to help people that are so deserving and in need of attention in our communities.
Yeah, for sure. And it's great. You are one of those places that the yachting community rallies behind. And we'll talk about the donation part of it in a second. But many times the yachting community is known for, I keep using that example of J-Lo back of a yacht in the Meds. You got the paparazzi photo, and that's what people think yachting and boating is. And anybody that works in the industry is probably hanging out with J-Lo somewhere. I've never hung out with J-Lo, neither have you. It's our community is much larger and attached to real life problem solving and giving back to efforts like this, especially here in Fort Lauderdale. And I just love talking about that stuff. Let's talk about who would be the ideal client. What kind of boat owner would be somebody that might benefit from donating their boat to AMIkids, and what does that look like in real life? And we'll use as an example, say a $500,000 Sunseeker.
Probably let's look more in terms of convenience right now, because we're dealing with times right now as the market starts to recover. Nobody knows what the value of anything's going to be a month from now compared to what it was a few months ago. But as far as in terms of what the individual looks like, Roger Hurd and I, my counterpart, what we've experienced over the last couple of years, convenience ends up becoming more of the driving force than the tax deduction. I mean, we've been doing this for, almost 6,000 transactions plus. We have an unblemished track record with our donors, but quite often for so many years, it was all tax deduction driven. Whereas now for the individual who doesn't want to buy green bananas anymore and wants to enjoy his boat, but the boat that he's owned for 20 years with his family and had the legacy of cruising to the Bahamas and all over the country with it, suddenly realizes, and he's told that the boat's been on the market for a year or two and there's not even been one single offer. Well, in that case, the legacy for the individual his legacy can move on, because through contributing to our organization, all the money raised through our lease program goes directly to our schools. So we're very transparent, and the process itself is similar to that of a regular transaction. But more importantly, when you look at fair market value, that's anybody's guess, because we all know when the people that are out looking to buy boats right now, and even the boats we have in inventory, everyone's trying to buy them at a much lesser value. Whereas when you look at the appraised value of a boat, it's an independent appraisal that takes place, and they establish what the appraised value is. And that's the number that the donor will utilize for his tax deduction. Now, as far as the integrity and the process for us moving forward, we'll put each boat that goes into our lease program, we'll make a commitment to improve the boat, and that's part of the IRS guidelines. So we'll issue what is known as a IRS Form 1098C. We'll make our improvements, and then once those improvements are completed, we'll offer the boat for lease to an individual, and our lease is set up as a true operating lease, unlike a capital lease. So when you look at the transparency and the integrity of every step that we take, it really ends up being a win-win for everybody, because for the owner who's frustrated, who can't sell his boat and wants to move on, get out of boating maybe altogether or get into another boat, it gives him the ability to utilize a safe alternative, exercise a tax deduction, but know that what he is doing, the difference that he's making for AMIkids and changing someone's life, is amazing. We've had several donors give us multiple boats. And in fact, there's some very well-known people that we've worked with who have given us 5 and 6 boats over the last 25 years.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest indicator that what you guys are doing is solid, is that you have so much repeat business. And we had some comments. It's actually been one of the struggles today, because we're on a bunch of different platforms, and keeping up with the comments has been hard. Actually, when Bob Verdon was on, I missed a bunch of comments. It was Travis Joseph had some cool Michigan comments, but we have one coming in now. Jeff Erdman says AMIkids integrity is rock solid. And I think that's one of those things that's so important in this part of it, because there has been examples in the past of people, and I'll just describe this in the most simple way, a yacht donation company that will quickly pop up and quickly disappear. And they do this like weird, and we'll use the $500,000 Sunseeker thing as an example. The boat's worth $500,000 in real life, but they do this, the donation place will do this inflated $1.2 million, and the guy tries to make a massive tax reduction. And then on the receiving end, the donation takes it, not clear where the proceeds go. And you can get in hot water if you're not dealing with the right people. So that integrity thing is so important.
You know, Bob, really the key to the whole process is the IRS guideline states that you either have to materially improve the boat or you have to use substantial use. Substantial use is anyone's guess what that means, but materially improving the boat is we'll put a percentage back in, invest it into the boat, and then we issue the 1098-C. But the most important part of it is that it's not so much who you give your boat to, is what happens and what the charity does with it over the next 3 years. Because anyone that receives a boat in contribution, the donor has no say as to what the charity does with it. But when you utilize a true operating lease, as we do, it cannot be construed as an agreement for title. But, you know, you talk about convenience. Recently, I was working with Pam Barlow on a boat. She had a very large sailboat that had been listed for a couple of years. And I said, Pam, it's the perfect donation. And the owners were in California, and the boat was sitting in Fort Lauderdale. And I said, why don't you reach out to them and just see if they would be interested in donating the boat outright? And she said, well, why would they do that? And I said, because right now they're paying $12,000 a month for dockage. They're paying a full-time husband and wife to be the crew, plus all the maintenance on the boat, and they want it gone. So just the convenience of being able to sign deeds of gift, knowing that all the proceeds, in this case, it was all cash, went right to our school. So it becomes a win-win. The 120 Benetti that we just received through Neil Lemon, the gentleman looked for quite some time, did a lot of due diligence on our organization for the integrity. And what he discovered was once he made the decision that contribution was going to work for him, it allowed him to go find his next boat, keep the crew active on the 120. And once he took ownership of his new boat, transferred the crew over, we closed on the 120 the next day. And you talk about convenience, it couldn't be any better than that. And plus they have a safe alternative and a great tax deduction to utilize.
Yep, that convenience part is a huge part of it, especially if you're an owner and you may have had some drama with the crew, or it's just sort of the hassle factor of the insurance. Oh my gosh, there's a hurricane coming, now I got to deal with this stuff.
Absolutely.
It really is a big part of it. Dudley, you're one of those guys I could talk to forever, but I've got somebody coming in right behind you, and he is a city commissioner, very important. Not that you're not, but he really thinks he is. Just kidding, Ben. But Dudley, really quick, if there's somebody listening that's a broker or a boat owner, how do they get a hold of you?
Go to our website, AMIkids.org. We're also going to have a webinar this coming Wednesday, and you can register on it. And the whole process of the webinar is to deal with what is convenience worth to your client. And for so many people today in struggling with trying to market a vessel, convenience is a there's a value. The question is, what's that value to every person? But
yeah,
we need anyone to work with us. And look forward to being of service to whoever that may be. Thank you.
All right. Dudley, thank you very much. Last question before I boot you off here. You know a bunch of our guys. Who is your all-time favorite Denison yachting broker?
I think his name's Bob Denison.
Oh, come on, dude. I haven't sold a boat in 20 years.
Followed by Skip. Now Skip has been great because Skip and I are working on another boat right now. He did the Insignia with us.
Yep.
Other boat, your other uncle's another one. So
That was a pretty safe play. So you're just picking a bunch of guys with the last name Denison.
thank you very much. Have a great day.
See you, Dudley. Bye.